Good afternoon. Thank you for your interest in being a Learn24 grant reviewer. Welcome to the 2021-2022 Learn24 Grant Reviewer Training. I am Vania Bowie, Supervisory Grants Management Specialist with the OST Office, also known as Learn24. I will be walking you through the PowerPoint presentation today in preparation for becoming a grant reviewer for Learn24 grant competitions. Our agenda for today is to review objectives. We will also talk about Learn24 grants. We will discuss positive youth development, talk about the review process, the rubric and scoring, receiving applications, submitting scores, wrap up, and next steps. Our objectives for today's training is to learn about Learn24 grants, understand the basic principles of youth development, learn about the scoring rubric, understand how to accurately score applications, provide detailed and constructive feedback, and understand how applications are received and scores submitted. A little bit about funding and Learn24. The funding is made available through the Office of Out of School Time Grants and Youth Outcomes, also known as the OST office, located in the Office of the Deputy Mayor for Education. Learn24 is the name for the network that supports equitable access to high quality after school and summer programs for the district's children and youth. The OST office stewards the Learn24 brand. Youth development programs. Youth development programs engage youth in a process that is productive and constructive. It recognizes, utilizes, and enhances youth strengths and promotes positive outcomes for youth in ways that support their social, emotional, physical, cognitive, and spiritual growth. A little bit about the review process. Each proposal will be will each proposal will be received by three reviewers will be reviewed, by three reviewers utilizing the scoring rubric. In the event that the three reviewers scores have a standard deviation of 10 points, either plus or minus, a fourth review will be completed and the initial score with the greatest difference from the mean will be discarded. The reviewer scores will be used to calculate a final score that is then used to rank applications. A little bit about the grant competitions. So the OST office generally runs grant competitions 2 times per year, and we will talk about the competitions in each time of the year. So we have school year competitions. In the school year, there is generally 2 competitions in the grant cycle. The out of school time grant competition that supports strong nonprofit organizations that provides district children and youth with high quality OST programming and is open to all nonprofits. There is also the small nonprofit OST competition during the school year that supports strong nonprofit organizations that provide district children and youth with high quality OST programming, and that is open to nonprofit organizations with operating budgets under $250,000. We also run summer competitions, and those are generally 3 competitions in the summer cycle. There is a Summer Strong competition that supports strong nonprofit organizations that provide high quality summer programming to serve school age children and youth for a minimum of 5 hours per day, 5 days per week for 5 weeks, open to all nonprofits. There's also the Summer Strong Small Nonprofit Competition, and that supports strong nonprofits organization that provide high quality summer programming to serve school age children and youth, open to nonprofits with organization with operating budgets under $250,000. And there's also the coordinating entity competition. And the coordinating entity competition engages grassroots community based vendors to provide programming through subcontractors for school age children and youth residing at DC Housing Authority and short term family housing for a minimum of 8 hours per day, 5 days per week for 6 weeks. This is a sample of the scoring rubric, which reviewers will use, um, not only for the mock, but this is an example of what we use in our actual competitions. What you're seeing here is the rubric from the mock application, which you will be completing in preparation for becoming a reviewer. So this does show the different areas of scoring. The scoring rubric we'll talk about a little bit more, but it is divided into 4 sections, which is unacceptable, acceptable, good, or excellent, which is the highest score, which we'll talk about a little more here. Objective scoring. So it must be written, resist comparisons, recognize biases, concentrate on content rather than grammar, read, score, and comment 1 section at a time. So, just to tease these out a little bit, we want to ensure that the scoring for the applications is as objective as possible. We want to score the words that are on the page. So, it must be written. There is nothing that we want to assume. We want to read the words that are written on the page. Resist comparisons. Many reviewers will be reviewing more than one application. Reviewers also have their own experience and prior knowledge around organizations and what programming might what they think programming might look like, but we are asking that you resist comparisons and be as objective looking at the application and scoring the application that is in front of you, being as objective as possible without comparing it to another organization, another application, or something else. We're also asking our reviewers to recognize their biases. We do attempt to ensure, by way of the conflict of interest form, which we'll talk about a little bit later, that there are no conflicts of interest with our reviewers in scoring the application. But we also want reviewers to recognize their own biases and ensure that you are clear and check them so that it doesn't come through in the scoring. Concentrate on content rather than grammar. So why we do want to ensure that things are top notch in the applications, we really want reviewers to concentrate on what the picture that the organization is conveying around their content rather than fixating on grammatical errors in the application. So please be mindful of that and attempt to look at the content versus reading it as a copy edit for the application. And also, please be sure to read thoroughly, score, and comment 1 section at a time. Please also be mindful if something is not in that section, then you are not going to provide it with a score for that section. Even if it does appear somewhere else, we do not want you to go back and add a score if it is not in the appropriate section. So please review the application 1 section at a time. Please make sure the comments that are written, and we do encourage reviewers to write comments for each section that is scored in the rubric. I will walk through the rubric so reviewers can see that, what it looks like, but please ensure that the comments are meaningful, specific, constructive, and provide helpful notations wherever possible. I th- I recommend there is a best practice to leave a comment for every section. I do believe that as a reviewer, it is a best practice. And if you are thoroughly reviewing the applications, there generally shouldn't be a section where there isn't some type of comment added, either about the score itself, or other areas of the application that makes sense to comment on. And we'll talk about that a little bit more. So, examples of strong comments. So, this is a strong comment. The application included descriptions of key staff who will manage the grant funds, but was lacking details about the staff's experience in managing and complying with grant requirements. It's a pretty thorough comment. Um, Here's another example. The statement, there are annual program evaluations conducted, on page 4 of the proposal, inform the reviewer that the evaluation is a part of the program measures, but more details on the evaluation methods used and how they impact the program's achievement toward youth outcomes would be beneficial. Another example is the expenses listed in the budget exceed the revenue reported, or the match was inaccurate. So those are 3 examples of strong comments. We will talk about some examples of weak comments. So here's a weak comment. This section is horrible. There's not enough details or objectivity in that comment. Please provide more detail to score higher. That doesn't provide um, feedback in regards to what is actually missing, or I really like this, right? Go further and discuss and provide details for what the reviewer really liked, or I'd never go to this program, right? That isn't an objective comment. And that's also something where if that comment was written, I would ask if there was a bias there, right? So these are all things to be mindful of. And in regards to comments, we want them to be as objective and as thorough as possible. All right, so there's some common terms to discuss. So target. The target is an indicator established to determine how successful an organization is achieving an objective. A goal is an indicator established to determine whether an objective has been achieved. Output, tangible and measurable results of what a program does or provides that then leads participants to desired outcomes. Outcome is the knowledge, skills, attributes, abilities, and behaviors youth need to be healthy, caring, and responsible as they transition into adulthood, where the details make the difference. So, as you've seen in the scoring rubric, there are 4 different sections for scoring, and a score of 4 is excellent and the highest. So, a score of 4 is hard to achieve and often requires additional information. Always score at the level where all requirements are satisfied. And we will talk about this a little bit more, but in the rubric, there are check boxes that we ask each reviewer to use as a guide for each section. And one of the best practices that I would like to share is that start at the lowest score. And then if you were able to check the boxes for that individual section, see if you can go higher to the next box. If all of the check boxes are checked off in a section, then that means that application for that section should receive that score. For example, if you are looking in the 4 category under excellent, and if there are 5 checkboxes and only 4 of those checkboxes can be actually deemed as included or checked off, then you want to defer or default back to the lower score, which for that case would be a 3, because that means all of the boxes, the check boxes in 3 would have already been checked off, and you were just looking at the 4 to see if this organization should receive an excellent score. So please be mindful and use those check boxes as a guide. Always score at the level where all requirements are satisfied. Accessing applications. Each reviewer will receive links to review applications using Seamless Forms. An account will need to be created before the review process may begin. Once the profile is set up, all applications will be viewable from the same web page. Applications may be saved and restarted. However, it is a best practice to complete each application in one sitting. Please ensure the application is successfully submitted. Uh, the Learn24 office does not receive the applications until they are submitted. So we will only know if they are completed, if applications are completed when they are submitted. So please ensure that the application is successfully submitted. I will also today walk through the application and the seamless form. I will show a demonstration of that here today as well. Here is completing the review. So this is a page from the application, and we will take a look at this for what it looks like when a reviewer logs in to complete the mock application. The mock application is very similar to what the real um, scoring looks like. So this is a great example of how it will look when applications are to be reviewed in real time. But this is also the same process that we are asking reviewers to complete in completing the mock score. I mean, the mock application. I will go ahead and show you all, demonstrate using these links, what it looks like to review the mock application. I also want to share my contact information. Again, I am Vania Bowie, Supervisory Grants Management Specialist with the OST office. Here is my phone number, and this is my email address. I am going to quickly change screens here and show an example of what the mock scoring looks like in Seamless. Okay, so this is the page you will come to when you first click the link to complete uh, the mock application. This is the same exact page that you would come to if scoring applications. As stated in the PowerPoint, in order to access the Seamless Docs database, each reviewer will need to set up an account, create with their email address, create a password in order to be able to log in. So as you can see, my information is already here. My password has already been saved, and I am going to log in. When you log into Seamless Forms, it will take you directly to the lobby, and all of the applications for review will be here in the lobby. So for this application, I will, well, this is saying that I've already completed it. So let me see if I can. Because I've done this a few times. So I'm going to click on view. Mine says complete and signed already. And it looks like it's not going to allow me to access the application. Give me 1 second here. Apologize for the technical difficulty.